Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video, I'm going to show you a demonstration of my dowsing technique. I use an intuitively guided process through dowsing, and I learnt my dowsing or divining ability through dowsing rods or divining rods, okay? And because when I started, I wanted to be able to detect where there was a misalignment in someone's spine, which in a chiropractic term would be a subluxation. And my grandmother used to use a V rod, divining rod, to pinpoint when someone else's back or neck was out of alignment. And this would be for family or close friends. And then my grandfather would do a kind of osteopath chiropractic adjustment, which was a physical manipulation of a part of the spine for it to then click back into place. And then my grandmother would come in and test it again and see, that it would go back in place. Now, I've always looked for newer ways, newer frontiers. And for me, it was, yes, using an extension of my intuitive ability through divining dowsing rods to find out where someone's neck or back was out of alignment. But I wanted to go a step further. I wanted to know how can I align and correct that adjustment using that same method, using energy, not physical manipulation. So this is something that I've been doing for quite some time now. And so that's how I first got into this whole game of being intuitive, being a dowser. And hence what led to creating a system which I call Intuitively Aligned, which I created the system. And really there's nothing else like it out there. This is a very unique system, which is all about obviously teaching you how to correct your own neck and back issues or subluxations or friends or family, or if you're a practitioner, your clients. But during that whole process, it encourages you and it teaches you to become more intuitive, which is what it's all about. I want more people to be more intuitive. And the biggest problem I see with people that are wanting to become more intuitive or dowsers is this aspect of doubt. Okay, and what I find as the human, a lot of the times doubt comes out of a thought process, doesn't come out of feel. And dowsing is really a feeling capability. It's a leap of faith. It's a trust in yourself. Because even though we're using a dowsing rod or a pendulum or muscle kinesiology, they're just extensions of your own intuition ability you have within you. Okay, they're just what I like to say to people about a lot of the energy products they make. They're the training wheels to come to the realization of this, of how wonderful you are, right? What an expansion you are. What a powerful, intuitive, and creative force you are. So these are all stepping stones to keep evolving yourself, keep learning more about yourself, finding out what you're capable of. That's one of my biggest goals is finding what I'm capable of every day, learning something new. Okay, evolving something. And definitely my dowsing has evolved enormously over the years. As I said before, I started with divining rods, dowsing rods, and these are dowsing rods that we've now created here at Truly Holistic. Now, these dowsing rods, why it took for so long to create and make some dowsing rods is because, again, I don't want to just make dowsing rods for the sake of it and make some more dowsing rods like everybody else has got. Okay, I wanted to make something new, something unique. And this has always been my approach to everything. I want to evolve ourselves to somewhere new, somewhere that's more expansive, not limiting, not keeping us into limitation. Okay, and this is a big problem of humanity in general, is we're always limiting ourselves, okay, and our abilities. So I made some dowsing rods, which I won't go into great depth about what's in these dowsing rods, but the energetics of you as an infinite consciousness, you as a soul, you as part of a soul family where that soul, which is your unique energy, is shared amongst dimensions, universes, and realities, because you're multidimensional. But also you as a source of energy. Okay, you're expansive. The energetics of those levels of you is within this product. There's no dowsing rod like that out there. Okay, and that's what I will say. So when you're using these dowsing rods that truly holistic makes, it's not, it's not just about an extension of your intuition. It's also connecting you into your intuition at a higher level. So you get more accurate results, get less doubt, become more adjusted and feel more into this expansive nature of you. It's going to provide a channel of wisdom just by holding these dowsing rods in your hand, even without actually even asking a yes or no answer with it. You can actually use this as a wand and direct an energy to facilitate energy into a certain area to heal it. Again, so it's these are incredible. Okay, so I'm very happy with what we've been able to provide and create now as dowsing rods that we can now facilitate for people to buy at Truly Holistic. The next thing I learned was going to a pendulum. And I would say it took me about 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks in using divining rods, dowsing rods, which is also called L rods. But then it took me only about 15 minutes to learn how to use a pendulum from that point. Because again, both these are extensions of using your intuition. Pendulum, dowsing rods. Okay, so once I had that connection with these, I could then use another extension of that intuition, which was a pendulum, which obviously didn't look like this. It was that kind of typical pendulum that you'd buy. And again, don't get too much into what pendulum is better than the other. Again, go with what you're drawn to, because that's a feeling. Okay, you can trust feeling. Thought's another thing altogether. This is where doubt and obstruction blockages comes. Our greatest obstruction and blockage is our process of thought, which comes from the mind. It doesn't come from the heart, your authenticity. So when we're really truly being connected into our own intuition, into a higher evolved aspect of ourselves, it's a facilitation of a feeling, of feel, not thinking. And for anybody that's come and had a session at Truly Holistic or seen the way that I douse, you understand what I mean by this. That everything, there's no thought at all involved, none whatsoever. And why I say, and that's the obstruction. So we lift and remove the ceiling and the obstruction and the removal of boundary to what we're trying to provide you in a session. And that's why I can comfortably tell you that there's no limitations placed on that session and what we can do for you. Okay? If you're in infinite consciousness, which means consciousness means energy, infinite means there's no boundary or limitation. You're in an energy at your core, you're in an energy that has no boundary, has no limitation to it. So now we're providing a practice, a way of healing that is in alignment with you at that level. Okay, and this is why we get this incredible amount of downloads of information, and this system and the way that we use these systems at Truly Holistic is ever evolving. Okay, and sometimes when somebody may not get the effect they're looking for, it's because, and this is why I say, because we're not allowing that. Because as humans, we're very entrained, very conditioned into thought, into thinking our way about things, about understanding things. And what I've come to find is we start to then set boundaries. We start to set ceilings. We start to set limitations when we then use the process of thought. When we feel there's no limitation. Okay, and that's what I've come to find. So when I learned how to use a pendulum, then obviously I got into dowsing chart systems that were based for the pendulum. Okay, for example, our intuitively alignment system, which is this here, is a pendulum dowsing system. Though you can use divining rods or dowsing rods with it, and you can also use muscle kinesiology with it as well. And when you get the system or any system that we provide it truly holistic, you also get an instruction manual booklet, not only to teach you how to use the system, but also if you are brand new into just finding out your intuition abilities, it teaches you that how should you go about starting with the dowsing rods or pendulum or muscle kinesiology. So obviously we've got dowsing rods now that you can purchase at Truly Holistic. Again, very unique. There's nothing like that out there. And now we've got a product that is really, it's a manifestation wand. And we have manifestation wand in the biggest size, and this is the smaller size. This is like the mini manifestation wand. And you can just use it for a wand, right? For a placeholder of your attention to channel energy. But the miniature one is also great to just wear around the neck, right? As a pendant, right? But also, this is what I encourage if you wanted to get anything from True Holistic that you could use as a pendulum. So you could use that as the pendulum. And I'm going to show you now over the charts how you'd use that. How I currently dowse now, I don't use a pendulum, I don't use any extension, because I realized that as I evolved, okay, and as you'd feel as my guide, not thought, remember, that I didn't need an extension of the origin of where my intuition comes. I just use the origin, right? That's me. Okay, so, and that's evolution, right? And it's always evolving itself. Over a period of time, I can feel a lot more what's going on within the client through my body now. That was something I didn't have. Now I do have it. So that's showing that there is a process that's ever evolving. So it gives me, because as a healer, which really, I'm really more of a guide, because I'm not sending my energy to heal you. I'm just directing more of your own light, your own energy, your own consciousness of what you authentically are through, and I'm your guide in that session. Okay, why? Because I'm vested day in, day out, my time, my resources into understanding reality. You know, it's a bit like, hey, if you're going to play a game of chess and you've never played before, are you going to go in straight away and play the game? No. You want to know the rules first, right? So if we're going to play the game of life, we want to know the rules. We want to know, well, why does life happen in the way it does? And to find those answers, you need to understand reality. So, you know, I was looking around and not many people were doing this, you know, and again, when you come and have a session with me, I explain every clearing. We do why it's coming up, how it connects to what you're experiencing. We never duck and dive anything about what clearing, because everything has purpose to it. Everything that's ever happened in your life is because it's bound to purpose. And so everything that we do and provide here at Truly Holistic is connected to a purpose, because you as an individual, as a client, having a greater understanding to what you're experiencing is a huge aspect of your life, a huge aspect in you creating a path of healing as well. Very important. So let's duck down onto the charts so you can see how we'd use these extensions of intuition. Right, so let's bring this down. Okay, so let's move it away. Okay, let's go to that. Okay, so now we can see the chart there. And obviously, you can use this as a pendulum as such, right? So you, again, if you're somebody starting, you keep your hand nice and still over the chart, correct? Right, and I'm going to say go to a line. Okay, and it's going to go there now. It's going towards there now. Again, keeping it nice and still. Okay, so now it's over. So move even more. See, like I'm telling it to move more to tell me that's where it is. And the line's right there. So it's going right over it. Okay. Okay, so then you'd go obviously to the chart that's got every bone, right? Skeletal system. Because you want to know, you want to find out what bone out of your skeletal system needs alignment. Right? So it's very simple to understand how to use the system. So then you go, okay, and again, I'm just using this as a guide. I'm just going to say, okay, go to the hip. Okay, now it's running over the word hip. Okay. Right. And let's say, okay, it said, okay, we're going to do alignment. And it was for that person's hip. Now, there's a chart also in here that then you go to that has every specific bone. It might be a bone, it might be part of cartilage, it could be a ligament that is bound to the hip, okay, the anatomy of the hip. And then you go to that chart and then you find out again through that process what part of that hip. And you might even ask your pendulum, because what's the first thing we learn about using a pendulum or dowsing rods or muscle kinesiology? What's your yes and no answer, right? So we could ask, let's say it went to the neck of femur, right, which is part of your hip. Then you're going to ask, okay, it doesn't really matter anyway, you can just intend to align the neck of femur, and it will just work on the one that needs to be aligned. But let's say you want to know left or right. Is it my left hip or my right hip? So you can ask your pendulum that, right? And then it will give you a yes or no answer. Now, my yes answer, and this is going to be different from person to person, but my yes answer using a pendulum is straight forward and back. Okay, and then you watch this. What's my no answer? Okay, so no answer is side to side. Okay. Now I find this quite difficult keeping my hand very still now because again, that's how I started. But now I use a lot of movement because again, I'm very sensitive to feel. Okay, I feel my way, not only with my life. This is how I encourage my people to go about their life, right? And allow the heart to guide their experience. And the heart's all about feel, it's not about thought, okay? And so I'm going to show where I have evolved with my dowsing now, without the pendulum. Okay, so let's bring you back down. Right, so I'm on that hip chart. So let's say I want you to go to the neck of femur, right? Let's go with that. So I'll show you how I work on it now. So just look at that. It was less than 1 second we're there. Okay, look, I'll try and move over. No, it won't. It won't let me go to the other side of the chart. Okay, and I can even go, just to make sure that it is that, can you circle it? And there we go, it's circling the word. Okay, so it's very much a feel. See, my hand's moving, my arm's moving all over the place. But quite often, a lot of the time, I've got my eyes closed. Because again, I don't want to influence it through thought. Because that's you as the human thinking you know better through a process of thought. This is the general problem of humanity, is we believe we're God. We believe that we know better, okay, than this intelligence that's using the body as an interface. Remember, the body's a vessel that requires the guidance and the direction of an intelligence. It always does. Whether that's you to make a choice or a decision through a thought form, or a drawing or a feeling to something, or whether it's all the millions of processes that are happening in every moment of your body, it requires direction for all those things to work that way. Okay? This is what makes me laugh about some of the scenarios, like for an autoimmune disorder, right? Let's say you got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and you go to see a rheumatologist, and they're going to go, hey, your white blood cells, your immune system, it's attacking itself. And for most people, they're like, okay, and give me the pills, and they walk away. But surely the question there is, why would the body attack itself? Now, what's happening in that situation is the body's attacking itself because the intelligence that guides and directs the immune system is being directed to do that. So obviously it's not an intelligence that's an alignment or an innate intelligence that wants the best for you. Okay, that's what that says. Okay, so why we allow that intelligence, and when we do it, when we go through feel through the heart, which is your pathway, or your own innate intelligence, which is you as a soul, as a consciousness, something you can always rely on because it is you. How it wouldn't do you wrong, because then it would be doing wrong to itself. It's just a high evolved you that is not limited to what you are as the human. Okay, our vision with these eyes sees less than 1% of what can be seen. So you can see how when we're put into the vessel, we are seeing reality in a very limited way. But if we can connect to our consciousness that's not bound to just the vessel, it's expansive as an infinite consciousness. Remember, an energy that has no limitation applied to it. It can see the bigger picture, and you want that to guide you. You want that to guide the processes of the body so it maintains vitality and wellness for you. So in that example, your immune system working for you, not against you. Okay, so feel is the way forward with that, because love is connected to heart. Love is what that state that we feel the best in. And I'm sure love is a feeling, right? It's not a thought, it's a feeling. Okay, so that's the first red flag, right? Is understand that love, right, is that state that we feel the best in, and we're always seeking for it more and more as humans. Love is a feeling, so it comes from the heart, because feeling comes from the heart. Okay. Now, why we feel great in a state of love? Because it's expansive. We're connected as our authentic self, as an infinite consciousness. Okay. So that's our power. We are very powerful in that state. So how would we go about using dowsing rods here? Again, just like the pendulum, when we're getting our dowsing rods to begin with, or divining rods, we want to find out our yes or no answer. So let's do that now. So first of all, you're going to get your dowsing rods parallel, and you're going to ask, what's my yes answer? So straight away it goes outwards. Now, your yes answer might be that it goes inwards. Again, you've got to find that out for yourself. Now, a warning. If you're new to this, you might not get any reaction whatsoever. Don't feel disheartened by that. Just keep working at it. That's what happened to me, and it took 3 weeks until I eventually got an answer. Again, like anything, it's replication, right? You just work at it. Okay, if you've got a passion for it, then that opening to you to become intuitive will come to you, as long as you keep going, keep working at it. So again, go back parallel. What's my no answer, please? So my no answer is them going within, right? So they go inwards. So how you'd find this here, and let's say you start here at the home page, and you could go, okay, obviously before you hit the chart, you want to create a focus. So let's say you've gotten the chart for a purpose because you've got a headache. Let's say you've got a headache, or you've got a sore neck. And so your focus is, before you hit the chart, okay, I've got a sore neck, I've got a headache, okay? And then you're going to ask, okay, is my headache, is my sore neck, is it due to an alignment problem? And if it says yes, then, well, okay, I'm going to go to that chart. So I know I need to align something. And then you'd go to the skeletal system to find out which area of your skeletal system is out of alignment, right? Or is subluxated, okay? So then you ask, okay, what bone of the skeletal system, okay, what area of the skeletal system, because it's not just bones, it's connective tissue involved in that chart, but as well as discs. So what area of my skeletal system? So what you go is you could go to, okay, in my neck, my head, where it's sore, I know there's discs there, I know these vertebrae. So I'm going to ask now, and you go, what's causing my headache? What's causing my sore neck? Is it due to my discs being out of alignment? And if you get a yes like that, then you go to that chart to find out what that disc is. And then you go to the disc chart, and then again you go, is it the disc between C1, C2? And let's say if it came inwards like that, say no, or you go to the next one. Is it the disc between C2, C3? And let's say it goes no again. And you go to the next one. Is it the C3, C4? And let's say if it goes yes, okay. So now you know you need to make the intent to align the disc between C3 and C4. Okay. And all you do there, what I would do in a session is all I do is intend it. Now, why I don't hold an amplification tool or device to that intent is because I am fully connected to myself as infinite consciousness. I don't need necessarily a a training wheel for me to bring that through. But let's say you're someone starting or someone that is first using the system. You get a little wand that comes with that system, which looks very much like this one. And what you do is you either point into the area, okay, it doesn't have to be as a specific area, or you can just hold it, close your eyes, and just using your attention, focus on the area of where you want to align that, right? And all you have to do is just then voice the intention. Now, one thing I do within a session is I've learned to use muscle kinesiology by my body to tell me when that clearing's finished. So again, it's just a discussion you have with your body. You say, hey, I'm going to do this alignment now, and I want you to draw me forward to tell me when that's happening, and then to draw me back, pull me back when it's finished. Okay? So as I'm holding this wand and I'm making the intention, because this is going to amplify your intention, and you're placing your attention on that area, right, the disc between C3, C4. If you're unsure about some of these places, again, just look up on Google some anatomy so you get a visualization of where that is. And you make that intent, okay? And because you've created that pendulum type of scenario, muscle kinesiology of the body, you'll be drawn forward first, right? And also you'll get a sense of a feel of how badly out it is, because it will draw you forward quite a lot compared to maybe another area that just draws you forward a little bit. So you get a sense of, okay, how badly something is out. And as you make that intent, you're allowing it to pass, you'll feel your body starting to be shifted back until you fall back. And when you fall back, clearing's done. Now, obviously, if you don't have that connection or feel with your body to begin with, you want to just go by how you feel. And if you're somebody very sensitive to energy like I am, when people used to work on my neck, before I learned this ability, I could feel it instantly or very quickly. But for somebody that's not so sensitive, you might just want to, okay, give it a few hours and just see how you feel, or the next day. Now, if you're not feeling so good, you go back to the chart and you go through the same process again. Not making the same intention, but going back to the home page and then going, okay, this is how I currently feel, not how you felt yesterday. You've got to go by how you currently feel, okay? And then you'll go, okay, now I've got a headache. Okay, it's not as bad as it was yesterday. But then again, going over the chart with your pendulum and asking, okay, I've still got a bit of a headache. What do I need to do about this headache? And let's say it might go back to a line. And then you go through the process to find out what's out of alignment again. So you know, it's a very simple system, because that's how I made it. And you're going to get the best results by not trying to overcomplicate it. Okay, again, healing really comes out of simplicity. Illness and dis-ease comes out of complexity. This is why stress is connected to all dis-eases, because where does stress come from? It doesn't come out of living a simple life or simplicity. It comes out of complexity. And generally when we're in the head, in the mind, in a thought process, we don't simplify things, we make things more complex. Again, another red flag. As I mentioned before, we want to get into the heart, we want to get into feel, we want to make things simple. And you'll notice you'll get the results that you're looking for through that pathway instead of the more complex, thought-provoking route. Now, I hope you've really enjoyed this video to give you a bit of an idea of my involvement in regards to my intuition and dowsing ability, give you a bit of an idea of this intuitively aligned system in regards to how that can help you with your neck and back trouble or spinal trouble or skeletal problem trouble, but also some of the products that we facilitate here at Truly Holistic to be extensions to make you become more intuitive and have more trust in your ability. Until next time.